どうも、キリさんです。アトミックハートやっていきましょう。鍵開けですね。うまくできるか？順調。あ。まあ、時間内にできればそれでいいのでね。開いたので先へ進みましょう。鍵かかってたくらいだから最終目的地か？左は何もないな。なんだ？なんかすごい空間だ。
That thing again. I came across it a few times while I was tracking Petrov down. I'm the only one who can see it. Even Charles didn't recognize what it was.
A teardrop, darling?
You can see it?
No, but I can sense when it's around.
It's like there's something very important but ghostly coming off of it. I can't understand or remember.
あれどうやって目的地に行くんだ？
What a brain. Nora, you've got a real mind palace, girl.
階段があった。登っていきましょう。そこが目的地だが、明らかに戦闘がある広さしてますわね。なんだ？なんかよくわからないけど今はここには用事がないらしい。いずれ戻ってくるのでしょう。今はエレベーターで上に。
Nora, so what is that teardrop?
A child of the array, darling. It's a ghost created by someone incredibly powerful. I can't figure out who it is, but I feel that the teardrop is searching for something you threw away.
Me? I didn't throw shit away. I've never even had anything. Wait, shit. The rings, the beta connectors. The whole unit was hunting them down, and Charles persuaded me to throw them away. He said they'd only cause trouble.
Who knows, honey? You're a military man, so you understand it's not weapons that kill people.
But whose hands they fall into. That's why I threw the rings away. That's why I believed Charles.
Forget that nonsense, sweetheart. Now we're together forever, and the past isn't worthy of your attention. Come back from your walk soon, darling. I'll be waiting with bells on.
地上に出た。そこが目的地だが。BD がいますね。シュートらしきものが左に見える。ここが最後の BD シュートか。発電機を使って準備は OK。ズベズドを地下で散らしていこう。すっごい追い詰められてる。ひどいことになる前に抜けよう。なんだと思ったけどこいつがシュートするやつか。ズベズド地下の攻撃をこれほど耐えるとは。固くね。なんか音が聞こえたと思ったら他にもいたのか。これで片付いたな。回収はカット、シュートにぶち込むぞ。
That was the last one. All ready for recombination.
Ready for what?
Promise fulfilled. I promised you a necklace, and you have one.
Oh, you're a real man. I'm so happy with you, darling.
では戻りますか。左上の目標は野良のゆりかごに入る方法を探す。ま、とりあえず戻りますか。
My darling, you deceived me. You promised you wouldn't impose your will onto me.
I changed my mind. Your way of life hurts others.
And why should I care about others? Why should I have to obey someone else when I have my own free will?
And why should someone suffer because your free will is defective?
Defective? Says who? You?
I'm going to fix you now.
ということで直してやりましょう。リロードしておくか。セカトール使わなくともズベズド地下で片付くだろうけど一応ね。新武器だしこいつがあった方が楽な行動パターンとかあるかもしれん。エレベーターの待ち時間が思ったより長かったのでカット。
As you wish, darling. But keep in mind that I have information about your wife. It won't be saved after recombination.
You're making it up. How could you know anything about her?
I'm a person. I can certainly make things up, but I learned this information from the teardrop. But you don't care, you hardened bastard. Go ahead, erase my identity.
Fine. Tell me what you know.
So you can erase me immediately after? No, sugar. I don't trust you.
Trust me or don't. How are we going to solve this?
Deactivate the flying lab completely. The recombination schematic won't be able to launch without it, and then I can rebuild it so no one will know it.
How do I disable the orb?
You have to turn off the generators. Think something up. You're smart. They're the reason I can't fully block that boring old man's control signals. Cut the power to the generators with a total blackout, and the lab will be deactivated. After that, I'll tell you everything I know.
Agreed.
左上の目標がレベデフ教授の研究室に行くに変わった。荷物整理とかして向かいましょうか。今度は右の方に目的地が。そっちに移動手段が？あのばあさんの音が。
Get lost. Nora's got information about Katya. Turns out I'm going to learn something after all.
Now you're being taken for a ride by a repair vendor. What could she possibly know about my guarding gun?
I'll find out.
Idiots are used, not given information. Sitinov killed my Katya. He saved you. He could have saved her too. But the doctor needed her brain for his vile neuropolymer. The first neuropolymer was created based on living people's brains. You knew about that maggot, but you didn't want to take revenge on your own wife's murderer.
That's my business to handle. You can't be trusted, lady.
Schmuck!
Enough. I don't have time for this.
まあ、このルートの主人公は誰に何を言われようとサチノフの従順なしもべでしかないんですが。正面じゃないとダメか。1がメンデレーエフコンプレックスハンガー、2が自由公園。どっちに行けばいいのかわからんのでまずはメンデレーエフコンプレックスハンガーから行ってみよう。視点がすっごいことに。これ人によっては酔いそうですね。あと高所恐怖症とか厳しそう。私はゾワッとしつつも楽しんではいる。メンデレーエフコンプレックスハンガーってここのことだったのか。別にメンデレーエフコンプレックスハンガーに用事はないので、メンデレーエフコンプレックスハンガーから出て自由公園に向かいましょう。また目的地が出ない。出た。1の自由公園ですね。メンデレーエフ記念碑はさっきの場所。なんだ？戦闘時の BGM が鳴っている。まだ残ってたのか。まあこいつに乗っていれば安全だろうし気にしなくていいか。到着だ。では行くか、研究所。なんだこれ？電力を供給しているジェネレーターをオフにする。
What are you doing, Sergei? You're disabling the lab.
Yeah, I know.
But why?
Because I'm tired of everyone lying to me so they can use me for their own purposes.
I don't understand what you're claiming, P3. How do you think I'm lying to you?
Katerina Nechaeva. She didn't really die in Bulgaria, did she?
Who told you that? Agent Blesna died in the line of duty, preventing a nuclear terrorist attack. She couldn't be saved, and your life was only spared because of the Voskhod module implant.
Oh, of course. And Charles threw me in limbo so he could use my body to kill people as he wished.
Sechenov was completely against the use of the Voskhod module, but it's thanks to it that you're still alive and haven't gone insane. Look at it another way. Maybe you're the only one who could go into limbo and come back out with no visible consequences.
And forget my past brick by brick? I'm getting my memory back, starting with Blesna. Nora's telling the truth.
She can't know anything. Nora is manipulating you.
So many of you, I stopped counting.
I was honest with you, and I refuse to accept your accusations. If you have questions for Dr. Sechenov, ask him directly.
He isn't here.
I'll try to connect you to Dr. Sechenov with the emergency transmitter. Go to the comms terminal.
ちょっと何言ってるのかわからない。サチノフと話す？目的地マークはこれに。電話だ。
On the line.
P3, my boy. What's going on over there?
Too much to explain, and that's the wrong question. What happened to Katya?
She's dead. I salvaged her brain. At least, fragments of it.
What?
Blesna's body was embalmed in neuropolymer. Her consciousness has been transferred to a data carrier, storing everything that made Katya, well, Katya.
Crispy critters. Sheridan was telling the truth. It's your twins.
I'm afraid, well, it isn't so simple. One day, we'll create the technology to revive Ekaterina, thanks to the robot twins.
Why didn't you tell me?
For the moment, your wife can't be brought back. But you don't remember her, so why hurt yourself with vague hopes?
I want to remember everything.
It's physically impossible, Sergei. That part of your brain has been obliterated. All I can do is give you reports of the Nechayev family's past to read. It will not restore your memory, but it may well disrupt the stability of the Voskhod module. I may not have told you everything, my boy, but I have never deceived you.
I need those reports, and my leave. I earned them.
Very well. I've given you warning, but the choice is yours. You will have as much time as you need.
I'll talk to you later then, Dr. Sechenov. We agreed. Well then, Professor, let's get back to Nora. I promised her I'd disable your lab. If she suspects I've deceived her...
She'll change the recombination schematic. I'll cut the power. It'll all be convincing. Hurry up, Sergei.
Moving out.
なんだなんだ？騒がしい音が。
Betrayed another woman, arsehole! You're good at that, you little rat!
She's not a woman, she's a machine, lady.
Who cares? She loved you. She trusted you. And you betrayed her, you maggot. Just like you betrayed Katya.
Back off, Granny.
One day, I'll tear you into bloody rags. You're gonna rot in your grave, you rat.
じゃ博士と話すか。目的地は多分野良の方だろうけどエレベーター降りてきたんでね。話せるなら話しておきたい。
Sergei, how's everything going?
いろいろ聞ける。あ、ここから最後までレベデフとのお話です。
So, Sheridan is behind all this unrest? Okay, not Sheridan. The chatting artificial something. Charles. Why don't you just go disconnect that piece of neuropolymer? He's part of the collective, right?
The thing is, Charles, as you insist on calling him, is an extremely complex red neuropolymer structure. That substance was the very first neuropolymer ever obtained, and it can't dissolve in the data array. It's literally different data.
So we can't disconnect it, clearly. But how does it operate?
The polymeric entity, Charles, captures a robot and finds people who have undergone polymerization but refuse to wear the thought device. The collective cannot affect such people, so he puts thought on his victims by force, assumes full control of them, and sends them to their deaths.
Can't those poor bastards be identified? They're in the collective after all.
They aren't connected to the collective, but to Charles's data array. It's his own little collective.
A small but proud little factory for turmoil and death. Does he have a lot of people under his control?
We don't know. We can only hope that due to its limited size, the enemy data array can't maintain numerous contacts at once.
I should have finished that son of a bitch off, but the glove wouldn't work without him. Anyway, time to get to work, Comrade Lebedev. I saw some news about an attempt on Sechenov. They were talking about the Collective's enemies. Who's that?
We can't do anything about that right now. Our primary objective is to repair Nora.
Why won't you at least explain it to me? I thought everyone would live in peace when Collective 2.0 was launched.
Thanks to you, Collective 2.0 was indeed launched. But unfortunately, a clump of the data array extracted from your glove got access to the neural network. This created a movement to unite those who were unhappy with the Collective. They're mostly former government representatives, the heads of law enforcement agencies, and business owners who've lost their privilege and wealth and joined the armed resistance.
So you mean, instead of an idyllic world, we've got a global civil war? And all because I ripped Sheridan out of my glove?
Don't disgrace the memory of that great scientist. That entity is not Cheriton Zakharov. No one doubts you had any other choice, but right now the Collective is attempting to solve this issue by relatively peaceful means.
Relatively? How? By shooting people in the leg instead of the head?
We do not involve soldiers and combat robots in neutralizing dissidents. We're trying to influence their convictions. Coercive methods are only applied to those who take part in acts of terror.
So things have all gone tits up, right?
As soon as you leave this complex, you'll be connected to the Collective. Then you'll understand. You will come to your own conclusions. We don't force anyone. As a scientific community, that's beneath us.
We'll see. So if I understand correctly, the Atomic Heart Project worked, and there are no countries left except the USSR. All power has been transferred to the party.
Not quite right. The Atomic Heart Project was launched, and there are indeed no countries left in the world, including the USSR.
You dissolved the Soviet Union. What about the government?
Humanity has united into a single collective. It no longer needs a government. All members of every government around the world have absolutely equal opportunities with all participants in the collective.
So who controls the collective?
Its founders, but this won't be for long. As the intellectual capacity of the collective's members increases, the number of people who take part in decision-making will also increase. As a result, all decisions will be taken exclusively on the basis of mathematical analysis and the sound judgment of all the network's members.
Yeah, but that'll come later. Right now, the robots capture anyone not connected to the collective and polymerize them by
Every
force.
inhabitant of our planet must be connected to the network. We don't have the right to separate people into those who have taken a big step toward the pinnacle of evolution and those who, due to unfortunate error, have remained on the fringes of history. But once a person has been connected, they can decide for themselves whether to remain as part of the collective or not.
And those who don't are deemed its enemies.
Sadly, that's so. But in time, they'll realize the foolishness of their obstinacy. As soon as the intellectual capacity of regular collective members reaches ours, the benefits of joining billions of intellectuals will be obvious to anyone.
I sincerely hope you're right. I see that those who don't want to join are doing pretty well in terms of weaponry and military hardware. It's pretty strange that you're showing this on TV. Why doesn't the collective send in its combat robots?
To keep the unnecessary losses to a minimum. The collective isn't hiding anything. We're not looking to kill people. They'll run out of ammo. Provisions will deplete. They'll burn their fuel. I assure you, the armed resistance will come to an end very soon.
Humans are stubborn creatures.
But they'll come to the collective, just so they can have a place to live and food to eat.
Cold. Someone will still be roaming out there, and they'll shoot you in the back.
They will be found and arrested. Once the OCO satellites, the Orbital Command Organizers, have been launched into orbit, the planet's surface will be covered by the array. Finding those stowaways will be easy.
Arrested? Really?
And be forcibly connected to the collective with no ability to remove the thought device. When all the information about the collective and its proposed benefits to humanity have been transferred to them, they'll get their freedom back.
It's time for me to get to work, Professor.
といったところで今回はここまで。ではまた。